Hi, I'm Ms Hearn. Let's get started. In this video, we're going to talk about the biconditional, which is one of the connectives in logic. We've already learned about the conditional, P implies Q. And in situations where we know that P implies Q and the reverse is true, Q implies P, we can combine the statements into one statement with the arrow, the implication, going in both directions. And this is called the biconditional. We've seen that if P then Q can also be read as P only if Q, and Q implies P can be read as P if Q. Since the biconditional goes in both directions, you'll often hear it read as P if and only if Q, and you'll also see it abbreviated as PIFFQ, standing for P if and only if Q. So let's look at an example. Let's let the statement P be I love that movie, and the statement Q will be the Hulk is in that movie. Then we're asked to write the symbolic statement P if and only if Q in words. So we're going to replace the P with I love that movie and the Q with the Hulk is in that movie. And we get I love that movie if and only if the Hulk is in it. Now let's think about the conditions under which that statement would be true. So I'm telling you that I love that movie if and only if the Hulk is in it. So one way that that could be true is that I actually do love the movie and the Hulk is in it. But there's another possibility. It's possible that I didn't love the movie because the Hulk wasn't in it. I would still have been telling the truth, but both the components would have been false. Now, on the other hand, if I didn't love the movie, but the Hulk was in it, then I was lying. And if I loved the movie, but the Hulk wasn't in it, then I was lying as well. So the only way that a biconditional can be true is if both components have the same truth value. So we saw that in that particular example, but we can also prove it. If you wanted to demonstrate it, you could create a truth table for P implies Q and Q implies P, because remember, that's what the biconditional really represents, that the implication's going in both directions. This is what that truth table would look like. You'd have the column headings P, Q, P implies Q, Q implies P, and then the whole statement, P implies Q and Q implies P, which is equivalent to the biconditional P if and only if Q. So you would fill in the first two columns with the standard truth values, true, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. And then you would use the rule that the conditional is only false when true implies false, when the promise is made and then broken. So for P implies Q, that's only going to happen when P is true but Q is false, that you get a false, and the rest are going to be true. Now for Q implies P, we're going the other direction. So again, when the antecedent, the Q is true, the promise is made, but the consequent, the P is false, that's the only time we're going to get a false. So you're going to look for a true in the Q column corresponding to a false in the P column. And the only place that happens is in row 3. So you see we have a false there and all the rest are trues. And then for the last column, we're analyzing a conjunction of the two previous columns. And conjunctions or and statements are only true when both components are true. So here we see two trues corresponding to a true, two trues corresponding to a true, and everything else is false. And so the final column being true happens in two situations. One was when P and Q were both true, and the other one was when P and Q were both false. So that's why we can say that P if and only if Q is only true if both components have the same truth value. So let's use this fact in the next example. Determine whether each biconditional statement is true or false. Part A, we have 5 plus 2 equals 7, which is true, if and only if 3 plus 2 equals 5, which is also true. So in part A, we have two truths. Whenever you have both components are the same truth value, you have a true statement. So part A is true. In part B, we have 3 equals 7, which is false, and 4 equals 3 plus 1, which is true. So we have two different truth values. So we're going to have an overall false statement when we say 3 equals 7 when, if and only if 4 equals 3 plus 1. And then finally for part C, we have the statement 7 plus 6 equals 12, which is false, if and only if 9 plus 7 equals 11, which is also false. So we have the same truth value, so we can say that that statement is logically true. All right, so the biconditional is actually the last of a long list of connectives that we've learned. So the negation always has the opposite truth value. The conjunction, the and statement, is only true when both statements are true. The disjunction, the or statement, is false only when both statements are false. The conditional, P implies Q, is false only when the antecedent P is true, but the consequent Q is false. The promise is made but then broken, is the way I like to think about it. And then the biconditional we've just seen is true only when both statements have the same truth value. So we're going to apply these rules to a truth table. We're going to create a truth table for the statement negation of Q implies negation P if and only if P implies Q. So since we have two components, P and Q, and we have 5 connectives, this negation, this conditional, this negation, this biconditional, and this conditional, that means that 2 plus 5 is 7 columns that we're going to need. And then, as always, when you have two components, we're going to have 4 rows of truth values. I've started with our two components, P and Q, and filled in the standard truth values. Now let's look at the negations of the individual components. We always look at those before we do any of the other operations. Then after we do that, we'll find the parentheses, not Q implies not P, and P implies Q, and then finally we'll do the whole statement. So first let's look at the not P column. We find all the opposite truth values of the P column to get the not P column. Similarly, to get the not Q column, we take the negation of the Q column, all the opposite truth values here. Next, we're going to look at negation Q implies negation P. This conditional connective is only false when you have true implies false. So we're looking for where not Q is true and not P is false. So we have to use these two columns, not P and not Q. The not Q is true in the second and fourth rows. The not P in those corresponding rows is false and true. So this is the only time in the second row where we have true implies false. So we write a false there and then the rest are trues. Then we're going to look at P implies Q. Still using the conditional, so we're still using the rule that it's only false when true implies false. So we're going to be looking for P to be true and Q to be false, and that will give us a false. So if we go back to the P and Q columns, we have true, then false, only in the second row. So we have a false there as well. Now to get the last column, we have to analyze the biconditional when the arrow goes in both directions. And we know that the biconditional is true exactly when both components have the same truth value. The components we're talking about are the things in parentheses here. So we're going to have to look at these two columns, and we're looking for where they have the same truth value. And you see all the way down, they have the same truth values. That's why we have all trues in the last column. So notice that this is a tautology. That by definition means that it's true in every scenario. And this actually makes sense if you think about it, because the statements on either side of the biconditional are actually contrapositives of each other, right? They have the opposite sign and opposite order. So P implies Q and not Q implies not P. These are contrapositives and they're equivalent. So it makes sense they would always have the same truth values. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That will help other students to find the video.